how many followers do you want to get this year? Like, if you could just, in your mind, imagine like, oh, I really wish by the time, 2018 rolls around, how many followers do you want?
Sarah said 10,000. I think you got that in 2 days, didn't you? This just the last 2 days stuff?
What's yours, Scott? What do you want to get to the end of the year?
I'm only thinking about what I'm going to be at the beginning of the summer, which is going to be, I'm hoping about 300,000, 400,000, something like that. Maybe the end of the summer, but that's kind of where my sweet spot is. So I don't think about the end of the year because it's, I'm kind of negotiating right now with people for the summer. So that's what I'm looking at. What are you going for there, Steph?
I want to be at 1 million. That's what I want to be at by the end of the year. That's my goal. That's my goal. Be there. How's everyone doing? I'm Stephanie, and that's Scott.
I own the website grillandfools.com. We do step-by-step, picture-by-picture, foolproof grilling instructions. So we did long form before long form was cool, or before Google said to make it long form. I've been doing it since 2008. I have had a nice little business going there, doing pretty well, but I kind of sucked at social media. I did all right on Pinterest, but Facebook and Twitter were just a mystery to me. I couldn't figure it out. And then I started reading some articles about people that were crushing on Instagram and getting paid to like fly to like Dubai to take pictures. And I was like, what? So now I had some motivation. So on January 1st of 2015, I was sitting on 700 followers. I treated my site, my Instagram page is like a personal Facebook page. I just posted whatever the hell I felt like posting. And I started it in 2014 in the summer. So I'm by no means an early adopter. So when I first started on January 1, I started hammering just every day. I started crushing it. Just really every single day, making sure I posted something or multiple times a day. And I got on January 31st, I had 1,700 followers. And I was on top of the world. I got 1,000 followers in a month. I'm like, I'm going to have 12,000 by the end of the year. Oh, wow. And this was great. And it went on like that for the next 3 or 4 months until May. And in May, I went from 1,000 a month to 3,000 a month. I was getting 100 new followers a day. And I was like, well, maybe it's warm now. I have a grilling blog, barbecue blog. So maybe it's just people are just because it's getting warm outside. And when it gets cold, I'm going to drop. It's going to drop away. So, and then when it got cold in October, November, it went up to like 200 to 300 a day, sometimes 500 in a day. And at the end of the year, actually, it was January 2nd of 2016, I had 35,700 followers. It took me 1 year and 1 day to get 35,000 followers. And I thought, wow, this is amazing. 35,000, maybe next year, this time I'll have 70,000. A year after that, I might hit 100,000. That was my goal. My real goal was 100,000. And then starting in the beginning of, towards the end of 2016, I'm sorry, 2015 into 2016, it really jumped. There was days where I got 1,000 in a day, and I went from 35,700 to 135,700 in the first week of July. So in 6 months, I got 100,000 followers in that 6 months. So, yeah, I literally thought I was the king of social media. Like I am, like I'm King Kong. I want to beat my chest and tell the world about what. But during that time, Stephanie and I kept running into each other at different blogger conferences or events here in St. Louis, and she and I have known each other for a few years, and she helped me out early on in my blogging career. And so I started giving her tips and tricks just over beers. I'm like, hey, I tried this and I tried that. And, because I'd been eating, sleeping, breathing Instagram for a year and a half. And so I think over 2 or 3 sessions of that, she kind of pretty much had what really wasn't a method at the time. It was just all the stuff I had in my head that I just kind of poured out to her. And she's the only person I told all the tricks to. And she took it and was like, well, this is not a bad start. Wait, just because you think I'm not the king, of social media or Instagram by any means, because she took that method and jumped and ran with it. So I'm just going to lead it because what sounds great. I mean, these numbers look great for me, but what she's done with it is even more spectacular. So take it away, Steph, and show her how you are the queen of Instagram.
Thanks, Scott. So I'll tell you my story. So I started my blog, cupcakeproject.com, back in 2007. And at that point, it was a place where I just basically dumped cupcake recipes. It was all cupcakes. I actually spent over a year of my life only creating cupcake recipes. It was really insane. And then I got a little bit tired of cupcakes. So now on my blog, you'll find all kinds of original dessert recipes, some like really creative, crazy stuff, and some just like perfected classics. So that's what I do over on my blog. And back when in the early days of blogging, you could really make a career pretty easily if you had a very, maybe not so easily, but you could make a career out of being just a blogger because you didn't have to deal with social media. It wasn't there. You just blogged, you got some ad revenue from your blog, maybe you got some sponsored posts here and there, and you were done. Well, now social media is kind of where it's at, so you can't just be a blogger anymore. So then Facebook came along. I had to get onto Facebook, and Twitter came along. I had to get onto Twitter, Pinterest. I had to get onto Pinterest. So all this stuff. So the one that I didn't get on right away was Instagram. I consider myself a pretty late adopter to Instagram. So I got onto Instagram, and so I wasn't getting onto Instagram. But what happened, the reason why I wasn't getting onto Instagram was because while all of these other platforms let you link to your blog and bring all this traffic to your blog, Instagram didn't have a link in every single post. And so I said, well, what's the point? Because if it's not drawing traffic to my blog all the time and I make my money from drawing traffic to my blog, why am I going to bother? Like I saw somebody, I forget who it was, asked a question earlier, like, how do you get the traffic to your blog? So what I learned from Scott and from other people who were doing the social influencer thing is that Instagram, for me, didn't need to be about bringing traffic to my blog. It could be its own source of income, its own source of brand awareness, its own source of connecting with potential followers. And so I'm like, all right, I'm going to give this thing a try. So here's what happened to me. In May 2016, I'd been working Instagram pretty slowly. I had 18,000 followers, which I know some of you are like, 18,000 followers, that's not like a slow start. But I've been on it for, a couple of years, and I already had a fan base. And so the people that kind of knew who I was were following me already. They were there, and I didn't have to work too hard to get those 18,000 followers because some people already knew me. My blog had been around. So then I started to really work this thing. And in March of 2017, it says I had 360. Well, that was the beginning of March of 2016. I think today I'm up to 371. So, that was like, I wrote that number at the last webinar, which was, when did we do that? Monday night?
The 6th.
The 6th, right? So now I'm at 371. So I basically go up over 1,000 every single day on Instagram.
That's 11,000 in 5 days, people. Yeah, rock star.
Yeah, so 342,000 growth in 10 months. Basically, growing my feed that quickly has been incredible for me. It's been amazing how consistent that it's been, and how it's been able to just kind of keep on going. This part is just for the bloggers and the influencers out there, and we'll come back to you brands, small businesses, don't feel left out. So as a blogger influencer, I just want you to make sure that you understand the true benefit of growing this Instagram feed, like why you should care about this whole method. Because, I said it's not really, as a blogger and influencer, it's not really about bringing that traffic to your blog. That's not the point. The point is that you were going to get people to pay you to post things on Instagram. And this is basically the best job I've ever had. It's fabulous because as a recipe developer, part of what I do is develop these different dessert recipes. On Instagram, a lot of times I don't have to develop a recipe for my post, which saves me a ridiculous amount of time. Somebody wants a picture that shows off, their party plates or their cupcake liners or their serveware, whatever it happens to be, their food processor. All I have to do is take a picture using either an existing recipe I already have, or I can even go out, if it's a pretty plate, I can go to a bakery that I love, buy some beautiful desserts and put them on that plate and say, look how great this plate looks. So I wouldn't even have to do any baking.
And the dessert's tax deductible. Yeah.
What?
And the dessert is tax deductible too. So if you buy the dessert, yeah.
Yeah. So this would apply to, could apply to craft bloggers or anyone who, developing original ideas that you could use an existing idea that you had. So that's time saving. Very limited writing. I don't have to write a whole blog post like I normally would. I just have to come up with a really powerful caption using, one of those great techniques that we have. So I just pull one of those techniques from our hat, do the great caption, much, much less time. Okay, in some cases, there's no photography. And you might be like, what? Isn't Instagram all about a photo? Like no photography even as part of this job? Well, yeah, because a lot of brands will pay me to repost their photos. So I can just find a photo that they did that was performing really well on their feed, repost it on my feed, and they'll pay me, a certain amount of money. It's just a click of a button and a fresh caption. So it's just like insanely easy. And then the kicker is that it's more money. So people are paying me more money to do less work. I mean, isn't that what we all want in life? More money, less work. And that's what I'm getting from doing this Instagram stuff. So Scott is now going through this exciting moment where he's going to tell you just how much kind of money we're talking about here.
All right. I'm going to open my books. So in 2015, I got my first paying gig. I had 13,000 followers, and a major grill company contacted me and said, we'd like to do some sponsored content with you. And then I went and scoured the web to find out what I should charge, and I didn't find anything. And I went back to the PR person and said, this is not very professional, but I have to ask, what should I charge you? Now, this is a person of great integrity, and she said, we'll pay you $300 a picture. And now she said, I don't normally pay that much for 13,000 followers, but your followers are exactly in our wheelhouse. And it's the exact target audience we want. So we're actually paying you more per follower than another person they had on the campaign. And this is basically the first time when my wife started stop really, looking at me and going, hey, pay attention to what's going on here. Stop Instagramming. So, I was making money, and I was like, this is great. This is fantastic. I just made, and I think I did 2 pictures for him. So I made $600 for 2 pictures. And I took the 2 pictures at the same time in the same photo shoot. So it was about 2 hours worth of work. So that is really, really good. So fast forward, I get through the winter months, I grow, I'm really crushing it now. Now I'm up, at like 90,000 followers, and I get a call about taking a picture in Atlanta. So I was flown to Atlanta to take 1 picture. Originally it was 2 pictures in Atlanta. They decided to have me take 1 picture at home in my studio. So I flew to Atlanta. I arrived on site at 11 a.m. Eastern time, was back at the airport by 2, had all my pictures edited and sent off to the client to choose from. And before I got on my plane, was home by 7 o'clock that night, and I made $1,900. Okay, that's what I cleared for that 1 picture.
That's
and they paid me $1,900 for another picture that I took in my backyard on my deck. $3,800 for 2 pictures. And you're thinking, wow, that's pretty good. You're giving us the best. No, I haven't gotten the best one yet. I did something in the end of the summer last year. I had about 150,000 followers, and I got paid $2,000 a picture. Here's the kicker. I got to do 5 pictures. I would have done 50 pictures for $2,000. 5 pictures, they paid me $10,000. So last year, I made $29,300. And things are going pretty well in 2017. So I have signed contracts for $16,000. I have another contract for $2,000 that I have not signed yet. There's a little bit of, literally I just got this contract yesterday. So that's why this number isn't, so move 2,000 from the 22,000 up there since we did this on Monday. And I met with another client on Friday that could very well be my biggest client to date. Somebody I worked with last year, and this client wants to create all the content for me. So I just have to post it. It's going to be a very good year in 2017. And basically, yeah, I busted my ass for 2 years doing this to get here. But it's not that much time per day, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But if you can do it and get there, the residual income is insane. Everybody I know, that works, for the corporate office or whatever, and they go, I get a 10% raise, or I wish I made $100 more a paycheck, or $1,000 more a month, or whatever it is. You know what? I went out and did that. I went out and spent a little extra time, and doing this, and now I'm getting that extra money. And not just an extra this is $29,000 in a year. That's life-changing money. I bought a second home because I Instagram.
This is all just extra money, guys. This is Instagram money. This is not like how much he made total that year. This is just from his Instagram.
No, I have a blog that gets a million page views a year, and that made me a bunch of money too. So yeah, it's it does feel unreal. Like literally, some of the things I've done, I'm like, I can't believe I'm flying to Atlanta to go take one picture. That's the stuff I read about. I was like, that was like literally what I started to do. That was like 15 months, 16 months after I read that. I was on a plane.
Speaking of unreal, I'm going to tell you guys this little fact. This week, starting yesterday for the next week, my Instagram feed is being featured on gas station video monitors around the country. This is craziness, people. If you go get gas, and I haven't gotten to see it yet, it's driving me crazy. So if anyone sees it, take a picture and send it to me. But over the next week, if you go to a gas station, you're going to see my Instagram feed featured. And I didn't have to do anything. They just reached out to me, and they're like, hey, we want to feature your Instagram feed on gas stations. I'm like, great, that's awesome. On the brand side, what's nice is that people relate to these real, authentic sorts of photos. So, on the left is a photo that Gap might have spent a lot of money with these models and in a studio and did this great shot for a print ad. On Instagram, what's working for the brand is something that's more natural and a real scene. On Instagram, you're able to connect with your users in a totally different way than you might be able to do in a print ad.
And if you look at this ad on the left, right? So if you're a brand and you got two models you had to pay. You had a photographer, you had a makeup guy, a hair person. You've got a studio time, all this money to go into that one picture. Whereas you could, as a brand, can go, hey, you know what? Tag us with whatever, and people will submit lots and lots of pictures to you, and then you're going to look at that, and you're going to have all these flooding in that are more real, that people can relate to better, and it costs you nothing but an ask, a little bit of time.
This is a company that sells custom sprinkles. They're absolutely adorable. If you've never seen them, you should check them out. They're so cute. Sprinkle company based in St. Louis. So I talked to the owner of this company recently, and she talked about how she started her Instagram account in September of 2016. Before Instagram, her average sales were anywhere from 300 to 700. Now she's averaging 2,500 monthly, which is absolutely amazing. And all that she is doing for marketing is using Instagram. Like, that's it. And she's not doing paid Instagram ads. She is just posting on Instagram and leveraging her fan base there on Instagram to grow her account.
Let me talk about these two guys that own Code 3. They're friends of mine. They percentage of every sale goes for a charity, goes for law enforcement charities and first responders and military charities. And these guys are, one of the guys is a police officer, a former police officer. The other one is the son of a FBI agent. So they hadn't had that law enforcement background. And these are guys that now have quit their jobs, and they're now small businessmen. They're now entrepreneurs. Now their schedule is their own schedule. It's not anybody else's. They do whatever they want to do. And Instagram was instrumental in getting them there. So think about what your long-term goals are. Where do you want to be in a year? Where do you want to be in 2 years? What's the line? Do something today that your future self will thank you for. This is one step. There's many more steps to take, and we can show you that path.
Now, I bet at this point, a lot of you are thinking, okay, well, Scott, you did it. Steph, you did it. That's great. Maybe there's some kind of, magic thing that's working for you, but it won't work for me. Well, no. And we've worked with Chocolate Lovers Club, taught her the method. And you can kind of read her quote that she said here. Her following grew by nearly 70,000 since we taught her. And wow. That was like in a 9-month period. So when you think about kind of what your goal is, she was following the method really seriously. And that was the kind of growth that she saw. It's been working really incredibly for her.
So Bama came to me in November of last year. And with the holidays coming up, I didn't get a chance to basically go over all this stuff until late November. In late November, he had 400 followers, 400, just 400 followers. And this week we keep taking pictures of his feed, and it's they're out of date, so we can't keep up. So yeah, he's well over 50,000 followers right now, and that's in less than 4 months. So and he's now working with brands. He's now got sponsors. Now he's got people who want to just feature their stuff on his feed. It's phenomenal. And he doesn't have a blog. He's just got this.
This is Milk Sugar Love JC. It's an ice cream place. And this is saying that they thought the best part of sitting through our course is that they now have a firm plan for their social media posting, and they don't have to hire an expert to do it. I mean, think about how much savings that is. A lot of small businesses end up hiring PR companies or marketing people to go ahead and do all their social media posting for them. So they're paying on a monthly basis for that. Here, it's a one-time payment, and then you know how to do it yourself. Now, it is possible that you don't have the time. You just don't have that hour a day to do it yourself. And if you don't, we'll do it for you. We actually do manage feeds for people. So if you're interested, send us a message. We'll talk pricing. We'll talk details, how that all works. But you don't have to use us to do it. You can do it yourself. You can take our course, and once you take the course, you'll have the plan, you'll have the method, you'll know exactly how to do it yourself. You
can keep trying to figure it out on your own, and you can. It takes a long time, a lot of experimentation, and you could spend the next 2 years like Stephanie and I did it, and figure it out on your own, or you could spend this much money right now. You're basically just accelerating. You're jumping ahead. You're going from that 10-speed bicycle, that slow lane on the side of the road, to the fast lane, to the Autobahn doing 120 miles an hour. So don't think of it as, hey, that's a lot of money right now, but how much time are you going to spend over the next 2 years trying to do this right, when we can make your time so much more efficient and maximize the engagement and followers for every minute you spend on this?